The gentleman from New York is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Ambassador Sales, the Office of the Director of National Intelligence 2023 Annual Threat Assessment states that Iran remains a major cyber threat. Iran's growing expertise and willingness to conduct aggressive cyber operations make it a major threat to the security of the U.S. and allied networks and data. Iran's opportunistic approach to cyber attacks make critical infrastructure owners in the United States susceptible to being targeted. Ambassador, in your role as coordinator for counterterrorism, you were able to witness firsthand the capabilities of our enemies to conduct terror attacks on our critical infrastructure. In your experience, how has Iran used cyber to enable their operations?
Well, Congressman, thanks for the question. I think Iran is a very capable adversary, and we spoke previously about America playing to its strengths and using the tools of national power available to us. That's exactly what Iran does as well. It wants to operate below the threshold of open conflict with the United States because it knows that it doesn't stand a chance. Ronald Reagan sank half the Iranian Navy in the 1980s, and they learned a lesson from that. So instead of risking open conflict, they use proxies, such as Hezbollah, such as Hamas, to carry out a terrorist agenda. They use cyber intrusions to target critical infrastructure in the United States. Not the sort of thing that would trigger open conflict with the United States, but that would be an irritant and then some, and that would disable critical U.S. capabilities. That's their tradecraft, to operate below the threshold. It's an instinct for self-preservation that is largely driving this, I think.
So the threshold, in your opinion, is just more of not an annoyance, but just to keep peppering us and our allies with minor attacks?
Well, I wouldn't consider many of the Iranian intrusions into our networks minor. I would consider them to be potentially quite significant. They may not be turned on today, but inserting malware into our systems that can then be activated in the event of some inflection point being reached, something that could disable the grid, something that could take hospitals offline, that would not be a minor attack in anybody's estimation, even if we haven't seen the consequences today.
I see a couple of the other witnesses nodding their heads, so I'll open it up to hear your responses as well. Mr. Warwick?
Yes, it really does concern me that Iran keeps getting better and better in its cyber attacks. The first few attacks were nuisance attacks against small dams that had no strategic significance. They've gotten better, and so our defenses need to get better as well.
Yes, Mr. Green. We'll just go down the list.
Iranian regime, they're really good at rallying their cyber army against not only Iranian dissidents and activists. They interfered in the election in the United States of America. That should be taken serious. And more than this, when they want to kill someone, they want to assassinate someone, some activists and dissidents, first they go after him or her through cyber army on social media. Well, how ironic that the Iranian regime are using US tech companies to bully their oppositions, but at the same time, they ban 18 million people from using social media. The US government must do something to kick out the dictators because they're using the social media for their cyber army and rallying, mobilizing extremists against Israeli dissidents, against US dissidents, and Iranian Americans as well.
Thank you.
As long as they're rewarded for their conduct and they pay no price for it, it will continue and it will get worse. That has been the pattern since 1979, and that will continue to be the pattern.
Yes. Thank you. I have about a minute left, so I do want to focus on Iran's use of technology. Ambassador, I'm concerned about the ramifications of the accessible AI tools to improve our adversaries' cyber capabilities. What should we be most concerned about regarding Iran's use of AI?
Well, I think something that Ms. Linejad just said is exactly right. The Iranian regime wants to take advantage of technologies and capabilities pioneered by innovators in the United States and use it to shore up the regime's survivability. The irony, the supreme leader is on Twitter every day saying death to America, death to Jews, death to Israel. And he denies his own people the ability to access the internet, the ability to use Twitter, the ability to get information unfiltered through, the regime's censors. So, we need to be very clear about, this is a big conversation, probably enough for a separate hearing. We need to be very clear about the rules of the road so that American tech companies, so that other American private sector actors are not unwittingly enabling bad behavior by the regime.
Thank you. I'm out of time, so I yield back, but I agree with you. This could be a hearing all its own. Thank you.
Thank you.